Ray. What do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
It's time!
Welcome to the Q&A show on this beautiful Tuesday night. I am your humble host, Tech Coach Ralph, and we are in for a treat tonight. We have a few topics to discuss. As you see in the description, I am going to do this. Oh, no, not going to put it yet. I will put it in after I go through the agenda and start off with the very first thing I want to talk about. And then I'll put it up. I'll put up the number for you to call in if you would like to, and we can go from there. So let's get started. All right. Let's not waste any time. So let's go through our agenda. First and foremost, shout out to all the newest subscribers to the channel. I really appreciate you guys for being here.
I appreciate you.
We are we're growing really fast. And I am so appreciative of every last one of you. And my most important shout out is to the Tech Barbarians. We are doing some amazing things. I am, sharing with them strategies so that they can accelerate their growth in their fields. So we are working our way through it, and we are going to win because above everything else, we are engineered to win. Right? We're engineered to win, and nothing matters but the results. Right? We set goals, we set long-term goals, and we work our way through those long-term goals. We break it down 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, 6 to 12 months, and we just attack it. We just attack, right? We even budget our sleep. We attack and we go after everything. We're coming for everything. So shout out to the Tech Barbarians. Because
They ain't believing us.
but I did. All right. Tech Coach Ralph believes in you, and we're going to accomplish everything. All right. So let's do it. All right. So next, let's share the live show schedule real quick. Right. So Sunday afternoons, we have software explorations. We are focused on Terraform right now. I'll just give a quick update on that. Right. So on Sunday, Terraform and AWS was trying to kick our butt. And then on yesterday, I figured out the problem. So I will be showing that. I'll be showing the solution next time we go live. I don't know if it's going to be this Sunday because I'll be traveling. And maybe once I get there, if I have good internet connection and all that good stuff, maybe I can stream later. Right. So we'll find out. I will keep you posted once I'm settled in. It might be a last minute decision. All right. Tuesday nights, we have Q&A sessions, and Thursday nights, we have software explorations. This coming Thursday, we are going to continue with the Airflow project, right? For my two data engineers, right? My data engineer in Taiwan, my friend in Taiwan, right? And my data engineer who is a tech barbarian, all right? So we're coming, like I said, we're coming for everything, right? Everything is with purpose. Somebody went back and watched one of my very first live streams and had questions about it. So what I did, I took on his project to make it my project, and I am going to help him. And in turn, it's going to help my crew. It's going to help my tech barbarian. All right. It's going to help my data engineer. So everything is with a purpose. Okay. again, Sunday afternoons, software explorations. Right now, Terraform. Tuesday nights, we have, and Sunday afternoons, 2:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tuesday nights, we have Q&A sessions, right? Where I find questions, or you can ask me questions in the chat, or you can call in, right? So Tuesday nights, Q&A sessions. Thursday nights, we have software explorations. We are working through getting Selenium Wire to work on an Airflow container using Docker, okay? So that's that. Shout out to the live shows. I really, really love the live shows. And like, I really love working through Terraform, and I love working through this Selenium Wire Airflow container thing, right? So it's I'm torn between the two because they're both so awesome, right? So, but that's the beauty of software engineering. It's the beauty of QA engineering. That's the beauty of DevOps, right? Like they all flow together. And from my perspective, everything that I do, I have use for it. So there we go. All right, so let's jump into the pre-recorded content, right? Mondays we have candid conversations. It's funny because I always like when I record them, I think they're like 20 minutes, and then after I finish editing them and watching them back, they're like 40 minutes. I'm like, oh, okay. I am not good at telling time, apparently, even with my calendar and all, right? But those conversations are fire, all right? So, I'm just sharing what's on my mind, my heart, my strategies that will help you. And then in the Patreon, I further those strategies that will help you get to exactly where you want to be, because in the Patreon, I work one-on-one with you to help you get there, right? So Mondays, candid conversations. Wednesdays, software explorations, concept and overviews. Tomorrow we are going to be talking about Web 3.0. So that was very new to me. So you guys are learning that. You guys will be learning about it with me. And if you know more about it than me, leave me a comment. Leave me a comment and we'll talk about it, right? And Fridays we have the Bug Bite, which this Friday we are going to be talking about. What is this Friday? I think it's the post office scandal and that happened in, it's a software bug that caused so many postmasters in the UK to go to jail. So that's going to be very interesting when bugs lead to convicted felons, all right? Over falsely convicted felons. So once again, Mondays, candid conversations. Wednesdays, software explorations, concept and overviews, and Fridays, the Bug Bite. And then throughout the week, I'm releasing the clips of the Q&A show so that you can get your questions answered in bite-sized pieces, because sometimes you just don't have the capacity to sit through with us for 2.5 hours, although it's very, very fun. Sometimes you just don't have the capacity, okay? So that is that. All right. Okay, cool. So once again, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button right now. Hit the notification bell so you can know every single time that we go live and we drop a new video, because it might seem like it's a lot of content, but over time, like somebody told me when they first started watching my channel, they had absolutely no idea what I was talking about. But now, the more they listen, the more it makes sense. All right. So we're going with that. All right. So, And then of course, like the video, share the video with whoever you think will find it useful, or maybe you don't think they'll find it useful, but then once they start watching, like, oh wow, this is very new to me, and then they get hooked on it, right? So do all that, and of course check out the Patreon, because I'm sure that if you think this is valuable, wait till you see the information in the Patreon, and based on the tier that you choose, you can talk to me one-on-one, maybe 2 hours, maybe half an hour, whatever the case may be. Or you can talk to me in the messages in the Patreon, because those get first priority. Whoever's in the Patreon gets first priority. They get my undivided attention. All right. So check it out. And I also share my resume in there. I share my LinkedIn in there. I give you strategies to make your LinkedIn more poppin'. So I just said poppin'. Look at that. So that the people that you want to notice you will notice you. Right. You might want to be noticed on Match.com or Hinge or whatever that other thing is. But imagine if the people on LinkedIn actually notice you and then they want to actually work with you, right? So much better than those other sites. I'm just saying. All right. So shout out to that. All right. Now, before we get into our Q&A, right? I want to talk about this, right? So a few weeks ago, I called Stephanie, who I am coaching, mentoring, all that good stuff, right? We've been working very closely together, talking just about every day, different projects to work on, strategies for applying for jobs, resume, all that good stuff, right? So I went back and I did some research to see like when was our first communication, right? Well, all right, we put it like this, right? The first communication was July something, where he sent me it was like early July. He sent me a message on Reddit saying, "Hey, I need somebody to help me, like to mentor me and stuff like that in QA." And I was like, "Yeah, like send me an email, whatever, send me your resume," and then never heard back from her, right? Never heard back, right? I'm like, all right, whatever. So then, like beginning of August, right? I get a message like, "Oh, yeah, I think I'm gonna take you. Like, I'm gonna send you my info because I need some help and all of that." I'm like, "Okay, cool." Sends it to me, and I give her some resume feedback, and then she's like, "Okay, yes, please help me." However the conversation went, right? She can probably tell you the story better than I can, right? But that was around August 9th, right? So now we are on we're in September 26th, right? So in this time frame, right, be about a month and a half ish working together, right? So okay, one more thing, right? Before we started working together, she told me that she was applying for millions of jobs and millions of QA jobs, no interviews, nothing like that, right? And maybe it's her resume, right? So resume feedback, been working together, what to work on, all that good stuff, right? How to organize your LinkedIn, and not only did she have like when she last spoke to us, right? She had like 3 interviews that week. The interviews just been rolling in, and then right now we already have 1 job today, right? Accepted 1, and then there's like possibly 2 other ones coming in. So she's probably gonna end up having 3 jobs now, right? From 0 to 3. So strategies work. It's all, but at the end of the day, it's all about her effort. I just give the strategies, but it's up to you to actually put in the work. And I guarantee you, if you actually put in the work the right way, you follow the strategies, you will get results. It's not going to be immediate, right? It's like it took us about like 6 weeks, right? But the constant grind, working. The other day, she said, I asked her how many hours would you say you're working a day? 10 to 14 hours. I almost felt away when she said that. Then I had to go calculate how many hours I was working a day. I'm like, okay, I'm still working more hours than you, so I'm good, right? But she was like 10 to 14. I'm like 10 to 14 hours, jeez. But after I calculated how many hours I was working a day, right? Then I'm like, okay, all right, cool. You're right. So shout out to Stephanie, putting in the work every single day, all day long, and that leads to results, right? And it's in the field that she wants to be in, right? Because she was working a pretty nice job before, but it wasn't for her. She wanted to be in the code. She wanted to slide into your code, right? Crazy as enough, right? Wanted to slide into the code, right? And now she has the opportunity. So here we are. I am super proud of you. And here's the thing, right? When she left her last job, people were like, "What are you doing? Like, you're making all this money, and like, why are you leaving and everything like that, right?" And you're going to do you want to go do QA. Why would you want to go do QA? Why would you want to go be a developer? Like, look at the position that you have, right? But she had her mindset. She's like, I can't do this anymore, right? And all these people are like,
They ain't believing us.
But she came to work with me. And now
We the best. I mean, all we do is win, man. You know that.
exactly, all we do is win. That's all we do is win. And she will say for herself, she cannot be happier about the results that we've been seeing this week. And not to mention, right, the amount of education, like the stuff that she's learning 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, she never used Docker before. Now, as of this week, she's done like 3 projects using Docker, and she's about to take on one of Don's challenges, one of Chaos Camp's challenges, right? It's going to be brutal, but she's going to do it, right? She's going to figure it out, and it's going to be involved using Docker, setting up a web server with Docker, all that good stuff, right? So, nothing but results. Now, before we go on, let me say hi to some of my friends. So, hi, Beatrice. How are you doing? And, I already pulled up Stephanie, but hi, Stephanie. And the very, very best data engineer is here. And no, this is not the data engineer from Taiwan. This is the data engineer who is a tech barbarian. Welcome, Miss Randy. And there goes Stephanie bragging about her results. And Beatrice says, get the likes up. Oh, wait. Oh, now she's really bragging. All right, talk about humble.
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
1 QA job, 1 dev job, 2 product jobs. We shall see. And now she's going to be using Docker on the job. Look at that. From 2 weeks ago, didn't know Docker. Now, a Docker expert. So, see? Nothing but results. And that's the reason that, like, with Chaos Camp, we build these type of challenges, because those challenges are real life challenges. So, Stephanie, help me out real quick, right? So, let me put this up. So we're going to do this. I'm going to put the number up so that if you guys want to call in, feel free to call in, ask a question. But I would like I want Stephanie to call in real quick. I want to have a quick conversation with her. Hopefully this works. Let's see what happens. Okay, this is here. So while we're waiting for the call, so what we're going to talk about, right, when she calls in, is I was talking to somebody a little earlier today in a Discord, and they were asking about, what should I put in my GitHub? Like, I don't want to really put just the stuff like what I'm following along in the online courses. Oh, here we go.
Call from.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how are
Yes.
you?
Hi. I'm great.
Yeah, I was trying to answer. It wouldn't let me answer. Gotta figure that out.
I
So here's what I wanted to talk to you about real quick, right? Well, first of all, how's your week going?
A little busy, but we got some great news.
Nice. Like I said, all we do is win, right?
That's right.
So here's the thing, right? So I was talking to somebody earlier today, and they were asking, what should they put on their GitHub, because they don't want to just kind of like what you said the other day, right? Like I don't like. I'm tired of just following the courses guide, and it's like I'm not really learning anything, right? So they were asking,
Yep.
like, what should I put on my GitHub, because I feel like I'm just following them, and it's like too basic and everything like that. So I told them, well, there's there's the challenge that you're working on right now for the time cost calculator, right?
Yep.
And I explained, I broke it down, like what you're doing on that, and then I shared with them some of the Chaos Cap challenges, like the MP3 challenge that we're working on, and the other one that you're going to be working on with the web UI.
Yeah.
And they said,
Those
like,
are tough.
yeah, they are, right? They are. But she said, like, oh, I think like those, like, I don't think I'm ready for those yet. Those are way over my head, right? What do you think about that?
Well, you gotta jump in. You just gotta try and figure it out. Read, you get an error, you read the message, you Google it, you move forward. Time box it, and then in say however long, an hour, then if you are still really stuck, reach out.
Good point, right? Because what I told her was, or what I told the person was that you're only saying that because it's new to you, right? But if you were to jump in, you'd start researching it and trying to figure out like, and this person's already a QA or they're like a test engineer, right? Not much automated, but I'm like, you're already halfway there, right? Just Google, Stack Overflow, all that good stuff, right? What do you think about that?
Exactly. Yep, exactly. I mean, that's how we all do it. I mean, while we're learning, while we're on the job, that's part of it.
Yep. And would you say that's like the past 6 weeks or so? That's how you've learned a lot of things?
Yeah, definitely. Yep. And that's how those things stick. Not by watching the videos. I do love watching videos. I think that's a great way to start. But then to really solidify it and learn it, you really got to, figure out those hurdles yourself and do some digging.
Awesome. And last question before I let you get back to getting ready for your interviews and all
Yep.
that stuff that you're working on. So what was I about to ask you? Forgot. I should have just asked instead of prefacing it. But I'll put it like this, right? So, oh yeah, it's not remember. So, what do you think about the strategy of? Because this is what I like to do, right? Which this is what I pretty much did on the Terraform one. I saw what they were trying to have me set up, and then I just repurposed it to my own project. So, in this past weekend's case, setting up like using the like what they're showing to create a Amazon EC2 instance and installing Docker and having it run a Selenium grid on it instead of using like doing what they did to set up like a web server. Use it for what like we would typically do.
Yeah, I do think that is something that you've told me before in the past, and I think that that's 100% accurate. Where if you can find a project that's meaningful to you, when I was learning API testing, I found the petfinder.com API and tested that out because I love animal adoption, and so it meant something to me, and that was a great learning experience because again, it was not following along with something, and it was also just something that was practical and made sense to me in that context. So,
Awesome.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a useful way to learn quickly.
Awesome. Well, just want to say before I let you go,
I appreciate you.
All right, so appreciate you. I really appreciate all the effort that you're putting in, and let's get these offers in.
I know. We'll keep winning. I really appreciate you.
All right, I will talk to you later.
All right, thanks again. Bye.
Bye. All right. Where's this thing coming from? Give me a second. There is some extra window open here. No. All right, we'll fix that. All right, so let's see here. That's what it is. Okay. All right. Hopefully we can get that fixed. Okay, so now that was an amazing call by our dear, dear friend, Stephanie. And I'll get additional tip barbarians to call in as well. Right? But you guys are familiar with her and you met her last time. I was like, oh, let's get an update, right? And that was an amazing, amazing update. But let's get into the show. So yeah, before we do that, I just want to say, right, there is nothing that is over your head, right? That's only in your mind that is over your head, right? Once you actually start, right? It's like the question, how do you eat an elephant? Right? One bite at a time. So you get this challenge, like, okay, let's say the MP3 challenge, right? What's the first thing you're gonna do? Well, the first thing you're gonna do is click the link, right? Then what are you gonna do? I'm gonna read through it, see what the README says, right? What's the next thing? Gonna set up a whatever language I want to use to write the test in, right? I'm gonna set that up. And just go from there. If I never did it before, right, and had to Google every single step one by one, that's what I'm gonna do. Right? But here's the thing. You're gonna fail, right? And then you're gonna try and you're gonna fail, and you're gonna fail. But the key, like the 3 words that will be the most meaningful to you is I got it. And you can ask Don, like, yesterday, I sent him a message, right? I'm like, I got it. He's like, got what? I'm like, the Terraform thing. Figured it out. I got it. Those 3 words are going to be the most meaningful to you. I got it. All right. So you might think it's over your head. Trust me, it's not over your head. You got it. It might take you some time. What if it takes you 6 months? Who cares? Start. As you learn in other realms, right? As you learn in other realms, it's gonna make sense. You're gonna say, oh, let me go back and update the challenge. Oh, let me go back and update the challenge. Just fail forward inch by inch, right? A little more every single time you get some new information. So you can ultimately say, I got it. All right? So, trust me. I know you can do it. Okay? All right, so let's get to our questions for tonight. And if you have a question, feel free to call in. The call-ins will get top priority. Okay, so let me get the questions up. All right.
Another one.
First question. I got an offer with 20% raised compared to current salary, but I do not like the interviewer. Should I accept it? I'm currently working as a senior QA in a French company for 3 months. The boss in the company might be one of the worst, the very worst, I have seen during my entire career. He doesn't listen to employees, doesn't have or refuse to give us a roadmap for product. After I joined, he also terminated the remote work policy and forced everyone to go to office. The list goes on and on and on. The good thing is I enjoy working with my team, except the PM and one senior backend dev. Well, you don't really enjoy working with your team, and the job is quite easy and relaxed. Aww. Last night, I have an interview with a smaller company doing outsource for a UK client. And the interviewer, their senior QA, has interrupted me when I talk multiple times whenever I said something that doesn't match her opinion about how QA should work. And they gave us an example. The interviewer asked, I'm not going to use the voices tonight. The interviewer asked, when testing API, if you find the latency is too high, what's your response? The poster responds, I will discuss with the dev about this. If the issue is not from his code, I will ask DevOps to check the infrastructure. Interviewer, no, that's wrong. Devs will never admit their bug. You're just wasting your time talking to them. You have to write a bug report and let them check. The entire interview, she was lecturing me about how QA should do in multiple scenarios. It's outdated, a legacy from the waterfall model. Today, They said I have passed and sent me an offer with 20% raise and work from home full time. What's your opinion? Should I accept this? And they added an update, right? They said they talked with a colleague 3 years in this company today and asked for their advice. The colleague said, I should go for it because from her experience, it will never get better as long as the current boss is still there. I also learned the boss ordered the installation of cameras in the office. Needless to say, I sent an email to accept the offer. All right. Let's go with this. All right. So, all right. So this QA person does sound like a bit of a complainer. I probably wouldn't want to work with them. But here's the interesting thing, right? Based on the conversation with the interviewer, right? So the interviewer is not a good interviewer because, like, me when I'm interviewing, and if you answer incorrectly, I'm not going to tell you that you answered incorrectly. I'm just going to like hear you out and just let you answer poorly. But right, the interviewer's take is not wrong. Like, I agree. Okay, you should discuss with Dev, but whatever. But you should still, if you see something wrong, you should still write a bug report. And if it's not, good guy's gonna get on me about this. Oh God, here we go. Gotta deal with good guy about this now. All right, we're good. Anyways, so let's not pay attention to good guy right now. So, but they're not wrong for the most part, right? You should, when there's a discrepancy, you should create a bug and have it documented. So yeah, like, I don't know, but the interviewing practice of lecturing the people that you're interviewing or telling them that their strategy is wrong is not good practice. At the same time, if you're thinking about turning down a fully remote position with a 20% raise because you didn't like that the interviewer was trying to help you be a better tester, then I'll have one of my tech barbarians come and take the job in a heartbeat, right? Because they are always open and willing to learn from any situation, right? Yeah, and yeah, I don't know. It's these type of attitudes and mindsets are the things that I'm like that when I'm interviewing, right? I'm looking for. In some interviews, I might give a little bit tougher pushback to see how do you handle that adversity that you might be getting. How do you handle pressure? That's what I'm looking to see as well. Like, I want to see your technical skills. I want to see your critical thinking skills. I want to see your communication skills. Those are the things that I'm wondering about. Because, like, all I see here, right? So you're complaining about your current job. Your boss is this. Your boss is that. I can't work from home anymore. All of that, right? I don't like the PM. I don't like the senior backend dev. So it's like you don't like half your team already. But you're happy that the job is easy and relaxed. If I had an easy and relaxed job, right, I would probably look for another one because the tech barbarians don't believe in easy and relaxed. We want challenges. We want growth. We want to win. Right? We work all day long. And what's work? Everything we do is work. And that's the mindset of growth. Right? but looking for easy and relaxed. So that's your current company. But then at your new company where they're offering you 20% raise and fully work from home, you have poopy pants because because the interviewer was interrupting you. Well, why don't you take that as an opportunity? Like, to me, everything is an opportunity, right? Even when I know that I know better and I know more than somebody else, I still listen and I take the opportunity. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I didn't consider it like that. I'll give you a perfect example, right? On one of our tech barbarian calls, right? Stephanie's working on the project that I was telling you about for the time cost calculator, and she's trying to validate a bootstrap accordion that is opening and closing properly, right? And she shares the strategy that she's using to validate that, and I was taken aback. I'm like, oh, that is a very interesting strategy that I never thought about. And I told her, I'm like, that's amazing. I like it. I never thought about that. I might have to use it. Right? So you can learn from anybody. Like, yeah, of course, that interviewer, like, they're not maybe because a lot of developers and QA people or whatever, like technical people are not the best interviewers, right? They just like to share the information. And if they think if they think you're wrong, that like you're lucky she didn't disqualify you. She actually approved you. So you should be thankful instead of complaining about her. But maybe not. Anyhow, it is what it is. But I think you're a little ungrateful, and you're lucky because they couldn't sense that attitude in you because they're looking from the technical aspect and they're not looking from the cultural aspect of, are you a team player? Are you going to be able to fit in well on the team? Because they probably didn't ask you, how's your relationship with the team? Right? How do you work with the non-technical people? You don't like your boss, you don't like your PM, you don't like your senior dev, but you get along well with your team. Makes no sense to me. But it is what it is. All right? All right, let's move on to the next one.
Another one.
I just found out a recent graduate with a master's is getting paid 16,000 British pounds annually. All right. So it says it's their first job as a part 2 architectural assistant. Right after graduation in a small office in the UK. They have been working for a little over 6 months. They just told me they're getting paid 16K annually, and I gasped. Isn't that below minimum wage? Isn't that illegal? I was getting paid 18K as a part 1. For those outside the UK, that means I finished year 3 of my studies and was working full time for an office for a year before continuing my studies back in 2018. From what they tell me, it's pretty hands-on and stressful job, and they're working overtime very often. Are they getting exploited here, or am I just tripping? Okay. I mean, it could have been an unpaid internship, right? You guys do not know the value of experience. You guys just don't get it. I've seen so many people struggling up, like we said the other day, right? 3,480. What's that number? 3,480. That's how many applications you need to do in a year for this one, which I'm pretty sure most of them are like that, right? But for this one boot camp, in order for you to be able to qualify for a refund, right? The first 6 months, 95 applications a week in your metropolitan area, 95 applications a week or 380 a month, right? For the first 6 months. I'm going to go off on a limb. If in one of those weeks you apply for 93, you try to make it up by applying for 97 the following week, and you have to have it all documented, that they can definitely hold that against you, right? Or if in a month, right? What if it's February and you end up applying for 375 or 370 because let's say you're doing 5 a day or something. I don't know. Well, more than 5 a day, but whatever the number is, right? And because there's only 28 days, it's not even a leap year. You end up with 370 instead of your 380. Oh, on February, you didn't meet the qualifications, the criteria to get a refund. Sorry. Right? So I've met so many people who they're trying to transition into a role, right? And what's their number one barrier to transitioning into that role? Experience. They don't have the necessary experience. So now this person is fresh out of college. And they're gaining experience. What do you think happens in an entry-level job? Like, especially as an assistant. Anybody ever see the movie The Devil Wears Prada? What was she doing as an assistant? Everything? How much was she getting paid? Barely nothing. But the value of experience, because from that experience that she had, she was able to go and do so many more things. From the experience that you have, my experience started off working at a call center, answering phone calls. See, but our entitledness, right? Are they getting exploited? So are they getting exploited? Is the boss, is the architect, because he's an architectural assistant, so is the architect holding a gun to his head, telling him that he has no choice? He can quit. He can ask for a raise. He can go find another job. Minimum wage. Minimum wage is a joke. It's artificial. It's supply and demand. Because let's say this, right? Let's say this. What if the architect says, you know what? I feel so bad that I'm exploiting you, right? Like, I can't exploit you anymore. I just can't do it. I just realized that I've been exploiting you by paying you 16,000 British pounds. And I just can't exploit you anymore. So you're fired. You're fired. I can't do it anymore. My conscience is eating at me. I can't pay you more. I just can't afford to pay you more. But I can't exploit you either. So, therefore, you're fired. Now, We went from making 16K and gaining valuable experience that would propel you to next levels. Maybe you don't have to be that assistant anymore. Maybe you can become the actual architect now. Maybe if you spend time working with that architect, then you can become partners with that architect, right? Take on your own projects, get paid more money, right? But because it's quote unquote below minimum wage, and that's what all the comments are saying, like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. Right? So now, because the architect feels guilty for exploiting you who made the choice to accept the $16,000, now you have nothing. Now you go from 16K and experience to 0. And that's why I say, be careful about the advice that you accept. I am very, very careful with the advice that I listen to. Because if you're reading it, let's say you're reading this, right? And you're making 16K as well. Like, let's say you're in the same predicament, right? And you're reading what this person says, like, oh, they started off at 18K, and all the people in the comments are saying, oh no, like this is so wrong, this is so wrong, this is so wrong. And now you go and you talk to the boss, and you're saying, I feel like I'm being exploited because this person on Reddit said that they were making 18K when they first started. All these people in the comments saying I'm making below minimum wage and blah 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 blah. And now he has a change of heart. Like, oh my God, you're right. I've been exploiting you all this time. You're fired. And you're taken aback. Now you have no experience and you have no income. Now you have to go back home to your mother and your father and explain that because you were getting exploited and you expressed that to your boss, that now you have no job. And now, dad can't watch the football game because you were supposed to pay the cable bill. That's all they asked you to do was pay the cable bill, right? But because you were listening to the people on Reddit, they told you that you're getting exploited when you're actually getting valuable experience so you could be propelled to the next level. Now, your father can't watch the soccer game, the football game. Oh, well. All right. We are moving along. Here we go.
Another one.
ISTQB for quality engineer of 5 years? All right, this one goes, hey guys, I have been a quality engineer for 5 years now at 3 different companies. I am actively looking for a new job, but I also want to learn more advanced topics for testing. I have had only one short job where the standards seem to be actually high quality and the testing framework performs smooth. I am wondering if there were any ISTQB resources that I should learn the advanced stuff, but also is it worth having, especially in this tough market? I have no formal ISTQB experience. Everything was learned on the job. Well, if you think that the ISTQB is going to take you to the next level, I have to tell you that you are sadly mistaken. You can, some people are great test takers, right? But what does that make them? That makes them theorists, not practitioners. In your 5 years as a quality engineer, you are 100 times more advanced than someone with no experience, but they pass the test. Here's an example, right? Here's an example. Taking the ISTQB, studying it and passing it, right, is like you're in the gym hitting a punching bag, right? You're hitting the punching bag, like you're jabbing, you're crossing, uppercutting, hooking, all that good stuff, right? You're able to do it, no problem. You, the person who's been a quality engineer for 5 years and working in 3 different companies, right? You are a well-experienced fighter, right? Got a good amount of wins, you got some losses, whatever the case may be. Now, the ISTQB person, right? Put them in the ring with you. Never had a fight before. Who's going to win? The practitioner will always defeat the theorist.
Message.
The practitioner will always defeat the theorist because the theorist knows what they cannot do, right? Formalized testing doesn't force that critical thinking that you need. It just doesn't. Not possible. It tells you the things that are not possible, the things that you cannot do. But the practitioner, they see the barriers, they see the limitations, and what do? They either go through it, they go above it, they dig under it, they go around it. They take a semi-truck and they just burst right through that wall. We don't have any limitations, we don't have any barriers. We never say that it's not possible. We might say it's not possible right now. Give me some time to figure it out. Like I was saying earlier, right? You might think it's over your head, but it's not. It's not over your head. Take the first step. Fail forward. Check out the video on failing forward, the candid conversation on failing forward. On Sunday, I failed forward the entire time. I've been failing forward on the MP3 challenge for the past 3 weeks, but we always get closer and closer to victory. You know, we always fall forward to victory. So now let's approach your question from a different point of view, right? If I want to learn a better comprehensive understanding of QA and testing and automation and figure out complex projects, what can I do? Well, I would definitely say, find a course that teaches you a comprehensive understanding of QA, right? The whole overview of QA, SQL, the different stages, smoke testing, regression testing, all that stuff, right? But that actually has you do something and not just not just studying how to answer questions on a test, but actually doing, right? Write test cases. write bugs, write defects, right? All that good stuff. Do it. And then what? Right? Learn automation. Throw some projects on GitHub. Ask for feedback. Ask for peer review. Push yourself to the limit, right? One of my favorite things that David Goggins talk about is the governor, right? What's the governor? So the governor is it's a feature that used to be, or maybe it still is, but it used to be in cars, right? Where it would top out at a thank you kindly. It would allow a car to go only a certain speed, right? So like let's say the car can, like let's say on the speedometer it says that the car can go like 140 miles an hour, right? But the governor is going to limit the car to going like 95 miles an hour at a max, right? So what David Goggins says is that our mind has a governor as well. And what does that governor do? Let's put it in a technical perspective, right? What does the governor do, right? So you want to challenge yourself, right? And you get a chaos camp challenge, right? Maybe using Docker, and you're like, oh, I've never used Docker before. The governor says, this is over your head. You can't understand this. You can't do this. They want you, like the end result is you're supposed to figure out this thing in a Docker container. You've never used Docker before. This is over your head. Why even try? Why start? Just close the page. Let's just go back, take it slowly. Let's go through our course, right? And it's just, the guy who's teaching the course, right? He's going to say, all right, we're going to go to example.com and we're going to click on this little link. And then, then we're going to update it to GitHub and say that I have a portfolio because look at my code. I followed along and I used example.com, right? That's what the governor does to you. The governor in your mind says, when you see something that scares you, it's too complicated, right? You can't let that happen. When you take the first step, you're challenging the governor already, right? You're starting to dismantle it. And that's the importance of it, right? Every time you take a step forward when your mind told you that you couldn't do it, puts you in a winning position. So what I would say is challenge yourself using Chaos Camp's challenges, right? Take the course, follow along, take some automation, follow along, and then really challenge yourself, right? By taking some Chaos Camp challenges and seeing how far you can get. You don't even have to get the whole thing. See how far you can get. That's the key. How far can you get? It's like the limbo, right? How low can you go? Right? You don't have to finish. You just have to start. All right. So passing a test, cool, right? Great. Nobody cares. Doing hard things, that's what matters. Putting yourself in a position to suffer, whether you're suffering through code, whatever the case may be, the challenges that you face is what's really going to make the difference. And then when you're interviewing and you talk and you share those challenges that you put yourself through, like, because we'll ask, so what do you do to learn more on your own, right? How do you self-learn? Oh, well, I take these courses, I do these challenges, I do these projects. I'm like, oh, wow, you're really into it. It's not just a job for you, it's a lifestyle. So that's how I see it. All right. All right, we are on our next one. But first.
Please offer me your energy. I ask of you, please.
Crack open another Celsius. All right. Let's go to our next one.
Another one.
One dev doesn't get code reviewed. So, long story short, we have a very, very senior architect on our team that has been doing a lot of SQL rewrites for our application. He has been able to do all of this while completely avoiding code reviews. Now, I went along with this in the beginning despite asking for code reviews, but now I'm really pushing for them after there has been a few critical bugs that have gone out as a result of this work. All other devs on the team must put their work through code reviews, but for whatever reason, this architect has not been subjected to them. He does put his work within SMSS and does not produce pull requests, so nobody sees his work prior to being put on production. It goes through testing after he manually applies his changes. Lately, I've been making a really big stink to our manager to get his work code reviewed, but have been met with a lot of resistance. I expressed my disappointment. Am I wrong for pushing that he gets his changes code reviewed? Is it ever appropriate not to code review work? I understand that it's unlikely both critical bugs would have been caught. However, I think it's risky to not have any other developer on the team look at his work. All right, so this is a very, very interesting question. Here's a question, right? My question to you. How do you sign off on testing if there's no code review? Is code review part of your testing process, right? And if you don't sign off on it, will the code get shipped? Right? That's what I'm wondering. If the if the QA is the last line of defense, right? And they should also be the first and the last line of defense, but that's another topic. But if the QA is the last line of defense, right? Is code review not part of the flow? I know when we're working, part of our checklist is that the code was code reviewed and it was approved, right? So I find it interesting that is he just shipping? Like you're saying it gets manually tested, right? But let's say you didn't test it, or let's say you said you denied, you failed the testing, right? Because there was no code review. Would it get shipped anyways? See, I think you need to strategize better, right? For me, in order to even go through QA, it should at least be in code review. There should be a PR opened for it, right? So not having the word code reviewed, it's of course it's the senior architect's fault, right? It's the developer's fault. It's the manager's fault. Everyone who doesn't require the senior architect to do a code review, right? All their fault. But it's also your fault because you're signing up like if it's your fault if, right? I'm not gonna say it's totally your fault. If it's your fault if you are signing off on the work without it being code reviewed. Because you can say no. You have the power to say no. Like, I'm not testing this without a code review, without it being in code review. Simple. You have that power to do it. So why don't you? Now, so I'm going to answer your questions, though, right? You're not wrong for pushing to get that his changes get code reviewed. And is it ever appropriate not to have not to code review work? If it's development work that's gonna be going into production and stuff like that, then it should always be code reviewed, right? Unless maybe it's like some type of it should always be because even if it's some configuration change, we always want to have at least one extra set of eyes on it to see what's going on. It's unlikely both critical bugs would have been caught. Fair, right? Fair, but I mean, it should still be code reviewed. Yes, the code review does not always catch bugs, but sometimes they do, right? Because other developers can see flaws in logic, right? And making database changes is a pretty big change. At the same time, what happens is, where are the unit tests? Are there unit tests that are running? I think the testing pipeline is failing here. And that needs to be addressed because you should make it I know when we use GitHub, we have a set of rules that need to be met, right? Conditions that need to be met in order for the branch to even be mergeable. So I think that that's part of the problem. All right, you're the QA engineer on the team. You're the gatekeeper of what goes out, what doesn't go out. So if you think that if the code reviews are a problem for you, right? Say no. You can't put your stamp of approval on something you don't believe in, right? How are you approving the code, the changes, the testing, if code review should be part of testing requirements? I think that is something that you can work on, right? That is definitely something that you can work on, and getting the changes reviewed, because that puts the company at risk. It puts your job at risk, right? Puts the whole company, it puts everybody's job at risk. And if there's pushback about getting his changes code reviewed, find out why. Why does it see is it the senior architect is not capable of making mistakes? The senior architect doesn't need any feedback? Question it. As a QA engineer, you have the right to question everything. Right? And if at the end of the day, right, don't put your name on something that you're not proud of. Simple rule. Do not put your name on something you're not proud of. And if you're not proud of the way that they're operating, and it's causing bugs that's going to be associated, critical bugs associated with your name, got to do something about it. Whatever that might be, you got to do something about it, all right? So, just going to share that. All right, let's go.
Another one.
Can earning AWS certifications without experience land you a job? All right. So it says, I've been considering diving into the world of cloud computing, and AWS certifications seem like a great place to start. However, I have zero professional experience in the field. I'm wondering if obtaining AWS certifications alone can help me secure a job in the industry. I've heard mixed opinions about this, with some saying that certifications are a valuable foot in the door, while others emphasize the importance of hands-on experience. What are your thoughts and experiences? Can someone with just certifications make it in the AWS job market? Or should I focus on gaining practical experience first? I really don't understand how we land in these either or situations, right? So I'm going to study. It's kind of like the ISTQB question, right? I'm going to study for this test and I'm going to know how to be a great test taker and passer, right? But I'm not going to actually apply this stuff, right? AWS gives you like almost 1,000 free hours to use it with the T2 micro instance. Like, you can be doing all this stuff. Right? Like, I don't know. There's so many resources out there that you can learn, right? So many resources, but we want to focus on, or should I just do the certification? Right? Can I get a job just based off the certification? No. Absolutely not. You cannot get a job just based off getting a certification. It doesn't work that way. I think the AWS certification is absolutely essential, right? If you want to get into get a DevOps position working with AWS. But what if you but there's Azure, there's Google Cloud Platform, there's whatever else, right? That they might not care about the AWS certification. Let's say a company doesn't use AWS. Let's say they use Azure. Then your AWS certification doesn't mean much, right? But what if you know how to log into here's how I've always seen it, right? Learn how to do the work, right? And then get the necessary paperwork to follow. You can do both, right? Because how many hours are in a day? 24 hours, right? How you use it is up to you. So you can be taking a course that'll help you pass the AWS certification. You can take a course that'll help you pass Azure certification. You can take a course that'll help you pass Google Cloud Platform certification, right? And you can also take a course that will actually have you creating the stuff that you're learning. Like to me, hands-on experience is always 100,000 times more valuable than being able to recite responses. Some companies they like you, they want you to be a robot and to be able to recite answers that you learned on a test or in a book or whatever, right? And then when you actually get to the job, you have no idea what you're doing, and then you have to Google and mess everything up. That's them. I will always value practical, hands-on experience. And if you're able to pass a test, which to me, I think for me, I don't think the ISTQB is necessary for anything unless it's unless you're already in the field, right? And your company is trying to get some type of contract with maybe a government agency or someone who doesn't because a lot of places that ask for the ISTQB, they don't know anything about testing. So they just oh, they have a certification. They must know something, right? Dumb way of thinking, but it is what it is, right? But so if the company wants to get ISTQ, wants to get somebody ISTQB certified, right? Let them pay for it. But you going out there and getting it with no experience, no job, doesn't mean a damn thing. Doesn't mean anything. Stephanie's an ISTQB certified. And she runs laps around 90% of you. Right? Do the work. Put in the 14 hours. However you break it down, put in the hours to do the work. That's what really matters. She's not like Docker expert or whatever, right? But she knows how to use it to get done what she needs to get done. Installed Jenkins on it, installed set up the Selenium grid. get the hands-on experience, right? And then like, and I will say this, right? For AWS, like for DevOps, I think it's different than QA, right? So I do recommend getting your certifications for like DevOps type stuff, but it does not replace the practical hands-on experience. I could study for AWS certification and get it, right? But I'm also able to navigate my way through AWS, right? I'm getting more familiar with what the Lambdas are, CloudFront, CloudWatch, EC2 instances, security groups, IAM roles, Route 53, and there's so many different things inside of AWS, right? But I can navigate them. I've done the ECR stuff, right? So many different things in there. So you need to learn how to use them. Just passing a test does not teach you how to do the work. It's just a certification. It's just a piece of paper. It reminds me of Kanye's album, right? The College Dropout, where little Jimmy is talking about his dad's degrees, right? All those degrees. Those are what the certifications are, right? All those degrees, never worked a day in your life, no practical experience. No hands-on experience. You're not a practitioner. You gotta be a practitioner. You can learn the theory, but you gotta be a practitioner because the theory, you'll know all the things that you cannot do. But as a practitioner, you'll know all the things how to do all the things that the theorists tell you that you cannot do. All right? All right. So this is going to be a good one.
Another one.
This one asks, what's your competitive advantage? What separates you from 99% of all applicants? What makes you special? What can you do that others cannot do? So, my good friend Don, right? He was like, "Oh, I want you to read my resume." And I pulled up his resume, and the first thing it says is, if you want a QA engineer who's just going to do the typical stuff and give you regurgitated responses, then I am not the QA engineer for you. I'm like, Don, all right, you cannot say that, right? It's true, but you cannot say that, right? But that's what makes us different. See, the tech barbarians, right? I'm gonna answer as a whole. I'm not gonna answer for myself because I'm not gonna answer for myself, right? But by me answering for the tech barbarians, that is answering for myself. Okay. What is our competitive advantage? Our competitive advantage is our work ethic. That's what separates us from the 99% of all applicants. That's what makes us special. We don't quit. We don't give up. We don't cry. We don't have pity parties. Right? We don't do that. We work. We grind. We don't accept defeat. We love failure, but we never stop at failure. We keep going. What failure is to us is just an attempt, right? It's our first attempt, our second attempt, our third attempt. But eventually we'll say, I got it. What is another competitive advantage, right? Our critical thinking skills are impeccable. We enjoy chaos. Why do we enjoy chaos? Because we like taking the chaotic situation and putting it into order. That's what we do. We purposely put ourselves in the worst positions so we can work our way out of it. Why do we do the crazy chaos camp challenges, right? Why is Stephanie going to do the crazy web UI challenge? Because it makes us tougher. It calluses our mind. See, it sharpens our thinking. And that translates to everything that we do. We don't get upset. We don't cry. We don't give up. We crush everything, right? I'll give you an example. Randy in the chat, right? Just went into data engineering and was presenting her work over the weekend. And my jaw dropped. I was like, wow. It hasn't even been, I think it's just about to be a month since she started this course, right? Started this class. And the stuff that she's presenting, right? Amazing. About 2 weeks ago, right? Introduced to Jura. Writing impeccable stories. But that's how we get ready for the real world. That's how we become practitioners. What makes us stand out above the 99%? We're practitioners. We're not theorists. We couldn't care less about what they say that we can't do. We couldn't care less that
They ain't believing us.
we don't care. We don't see it. We don't see you, right? While you are sitting around enjoying your weekends, we're enjoying ours too, right? But how do we enjoy our weekends, right? Working on projects, learning Scrum, learning how to work within a team so that when we go out there in the job market, they say, hey, so what's your experience? What do you do? Oh, well, for the past year, I've been working on this project, that project, that project. I wrote these stories. I organized like this. This is the data that I gather. These are the QA tests projects that I worked on. I've completed these 20 challenges from Chaos Camp. I'd love to show it to you. Oh, how about this, right? Here are some challenges on Chaos Camp that I haven't done yet, right? Pick one, any one of them, and I'll work on it while you guys watch me. And I'll answer questions about it, whatever you want, right? Have that be the interview. Challenge me in the interview. Put me in the worst position. Let me work it out. Let me show you my creative thinking skills. Let me show you my resiliency. I won't lose. And that's what you get from me, right? I don't have pity parties. I don't cry. I just work. And nothing matters but the results. That is what makes us stand out. Nothing matters but the results. And that is our competitive advantage. That's what separates us from the 99.999%. That's what makes us special. And that's what we can do that others cannot do.
It's time to do.
All right. Let's go to this one.
Another one.
So this one says, F my life. I just got off a technical interview and I bombed pretty badly. I actually had 2 technical interviews this week. One where I thought I did pretty well. The other was today and I absolutely bombed. This interview was pretty early start as well, but honestly, I wasn't in the correct mindset. I just lost my dad to cancer and we had his funeral last week. And I haven't prepared myself for this interview. Okay, this took a dark turn. I was not expecting that one. Should probably read these questions before I pick them. Anyways, but I thought my years of QA experience should have prepared me already. Well, that's a mistake. But some questions for some reason tripped me up. So I guess he's getting into some questions. What's the most important key metric while testing? I froze on this one, then said the number of bugs. Then he asked, what's a good number of bugs, 1,000 or 1? I just said the bug density is important to measure the quality of the code, but that number is determined by the overall team. All right. Then he gets to the next one. How did you design your test regression suite in your last company? I just said I would use a requirement traceability checklist. And then for some reason, I just went over exactly my regression checklist of what I did for my last company. All right, so we'll read through this and come back to them. How would you test a bank system? I don't even remember what I said on this one. Something about checking balances and charges. I feel like poop right now. Okay. All right. So, well, I guess we should start off with, I am very sorry for your loss. Yeah, very sorry for your loss. That's very sad to hear. Okay, so, but here's a problem, right? And I made the same mistake earlier on this year, right? And what was that mistake, right? So the mistake was that I've been doing QA for a very long time, right? So I get off one job and now I'm going to interview and just, I just thought like, oh, I can answer any QA question, but it's not about answering the QA question. It's about preparing for the interview. So interviewing is an art, right? It's an art. You don't just go in there and you just answer questions. It's how you answer the question. It's the tone that you take. It's the confidence that you show, right? It's being able to think quick on your feet. That is a very important part. Like I just thought about this right now, right? That's a very important part of interviewing, right? Because if they can sense that you're stuck, but you're able to handle the question well, even if you don't have the exact answer, but you're able to handle it well, that is points in your bucket, right? You score some points because the creativity, the critical thinking skills, the way that you maneuver, the way that you communicate, all of those matter for whatever position that you're doing, right? So going in there, thinking that your years of QA experience is preparation is absolutely false. Your years of QA experience have absolutely nothing to do with it. Has nothing to do with it. Being able to interview and communicate, that's the most important part, right? How do you communicate? What's your body language like? What type of questions do you ask? Which I will be creating a Patreon video of what type of questions should I ask in an interview. Because a lot of times people ask terrible questions or they don't have any questions. They don't come prepared. But there are some strategic questions that you can ask that will have you stand out above all of the other interviewers or interviewees, right? Those are questions to ask. So let's look at these questions, right? So the questions trip you up. What is the most important key metric while testing? So you said the number of bugs is the most important key metric. Why? While testing, the number of bugs is the most important key metric? I think the number of bugs is useful, but not while testing. Because if you have 1,000 bugs or 1 bug, so 1,000 bugs just tells me that the development is just done very poorly. If you have 1 bug, it could mean a couple of things. It could mean that the development is done really well, or you're a very poor tester. Like it just depends. Like those numbers don't really mean much to me, right? And it also depends. Like I don't. while testing, how can you like having a lot of bugs while testing? How big is the story that you're testing, right? So there's just that question is the answer to that question is tricky, right? Because we will look at the bugs, but that's like afterwards. Like how many bugs do I have open altogether, right? How many bugs did we find during testing, you know? But while testing, that doesn't matter to me as much. See, what do I look for when I'm testing, right? I'll look at so while testing, while I'm testing something, I would look at the scenarios, right? I would look for the different variations of test data that I could use. So I can actually capture all the testing scenarios, right? I think to me that's what that's the metric I'd look for. How many test scenarios or how many test variations can I create based on the acceptance criteria, right? So I look at the acceptance criteria. I'd look at the variations. So let's say, for example, we're testing an API, right? Would be more important to me the number of bugs that I can find or the number of tests that I can execute to validate that the software is working properly. Because what if I find one bug, but I've comprehensively tested everything to make sure that we're validating like everything is being captured. What's more important to me? That one bug that I found? Or let's say we have like 100 variations that we can run through, right? We automate it. It's going through all the different tests and we don't find any issues. So is it bad that there was maybe 0 bugs or 1 bug? Do we have bad metrics? Or is it more important that I was able to catch or that I was able to confirm that in all these different scenarios, all these different variations, that is working as expected? So if that was a question for me, I think I'd go with that. And guess what? I just thought about it on the fly, right? It's a very good question though. But I wouldn't care about the like while testing, I wouldn't care about the bugs, right? Now, after the fact, like on a managerial level, on a team level, I say, all right, we have this many bugs that are open, or in the like during a sprint retrospective, right? Oh, like we found 10 bugs working on this story. Like we need to work on working together like earlier on so we can reduce the amount of bugs that we find while testing, right? Because there shouldn't be that many bugs coming out of development. If there are, we're not doing something right. But from a testing perspective, I want to focus on how can I make sure that I'm capturing all the variations of tests when I'm testing. That's the metrics that I'm looking for, right? So how did you design your test regression suite in your last company? Using the requirement traceability checklist sounds very ISTQB-ish to me. But then you went over your exact regression checklist. What I would answer, like, I don't know if you do automation, but I would answer how I built my automation regression suite and the ability to have other people run it, to have other people run it on their either local machines or run it on a branch, right? When to run which regression suites, right? Which might be like part of your checklist, but I don't think the answer was too bad. How do you test the banking system? Something about checking balances and charges. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think you were prepared. I think that it is very important to do interview preparation, right? You got to do mock interviews, you got to do interview prep, just being able to answer questions. that is not going to help, right? So yeah, I mean, if you did poorly, I mean, you never know. You might still get the offer anyways. To be honest with you, sometimes we think that we did terribly in interviews, but it's not necessarily the case. It's just and some of the ones that we think that we did great in, that's the ones that we get denied for. So I wouldn't put too much weight on it. Um, but I would say don't rely on your experience and history to think you're going to perform well in interviews. Interviewing is an art. It is totally different from the real, like working in the real world, because you need to know how to perform, right? It's a performance. You're a salesperson in an interview, right? You're a salesperson. You need to market yourself. You need to show why you are the most qualified for the position. All right. So, and hide this for a second. Shout out to Brunel. Thank you very, very much. And I will do my best. All right. So let's go to our next question. Oh, I didn't close this. So let's finish this one out. All right. Let's go to our next question.
Another one.
Passed my ISTQB, CTFL. They just keep adding more and more letters to this. Thinking of pursuing the Technical Test Analyst and Automation Engineer ISTQB certification next. So this is TTAAE ISTQB certification next. All right, cool. I passed my ISTQB CTFL on Saturday, and I am thinking of pursuing a Technical Test Analyst and Automation Engineer ISTQB certification for my next goal. If anyone can share any material to study for these certifications or have any suggestions regarding these two certifications, please let me know. I'm also open to other suggestions. Please help me advance my career in software testing. All right. So let's do this. If you don't have a role yet, I don't even know how ICQB is qualified to talk about automation and stuff like that. But anyways, if you don't have a role yet as a software tester, I would say you need to gain experience. That's the most important thing, right? So many people, and here's the funny thing is, right? You can go to a boot camp and you can learn how to manual test. You can learn how to write some automation code, right? And they're probably going to teach you in Python, which there's nothing wrong with Python. I work in Python right now, right? But I say this, right? You got to do it. I'm going to use Don's term. You got to do counter intel on the positions that you want, right? I'm not going to share how to do counter intel. That is going to be in the Patreon on how to do counter intel on the jobs that you want, for the companies that you want, for the people that have those jobs that you want, right? How to do counter intel, how to know what you need to learn, how to know what to do, because a lot of times we're asking these questions and they're not very good strategies to get to where you want to be. Right? It's not very helpful. And because to me, passing these tests, it just means you're a good test taker. It just means that you're a good test taker. Have you taken show me a script that you've written? I want to see the work. Send me a GitHub. Show me a portfolio. I want to see the work. To me, nothing matters but the work. The work is what leads to your results. You don't have any results, then I don't care. Oh, you don't have experience working in a company? Okay, that's fine, right? Show me your work. Make me say wow. If you can make me say wow, then you get a check mark. If it's the same boring stuff, right? I have my certification. Cool. Now what? Is that going to get you a job? Nope. It just tells me, congratulations, you passed the test. right? Have you been punched in the mouth yet? What do you do when things go wrong? When things aren't working? When the pressure is on, what do you do? There we go. So you can go for all these certifications, collect the degrees, like little Jimmy's dad, like little Jimmy's father, right? Collect all those degrees. But are those degrees going to keep you warm? That's the question. Are those degrees going to keep you warm? I think not. Those certifications, are they going to keep you warm? No, you got to start doing. Show your work. Do something hard. Make that stand out on your resume, right? Can you get the certifications afterwards? Sure. But here's the thing, right? Here's the funny thing. A lot of times after I learned how to do something, I couldn't care less about the certifications anymore, right? I'm like, oh, I should go get certified in this. But then I know how to do it. I'm like, why do I need the certification for? I know how to do it. I can spit it up. I can show how to do it. I can speak through it. I can say, oh yeah, then I went into Route 53 and I did this and I added this setting, right? Oh, I used AWS Amplify to set this up, right? Have it in GitHub and it's going through a whole process using AWS Amplify. Oh, I use Terraform to set up a EC2 instance where it's set up, and I wrote a shell script to set up Docker and launch a Selenium grid. Takes like 5 minutes now. It used to take half an hour for me to manually go in there, set it up, SSH to the box, to the EC2 instance, and then go through the steps of installing Docker and Docker Compose, and then starting up a Selenium grid. Now, because I use Terraform, right? It takes less than 5 minutes to run. And then I can just destroy it afterwards, right? So you can get your little certifications, but it doesn't, to the people who know, it doesn't mean a thing. What's a better option, right? So go take a course, start learning the basics of automation if you don't know it yet, right? And then as you're learning, right, challenge yourself. Go to Chaos Cap. Try the MP3 challenge. Try the Web UI automation challenge. And all the other challenges up there. Beat yourself up. Put yourself in the worst positions and work your way out of them. Work your way out of them. We got Don in the house. What's up, Don? And Don says,
message.
Yes. Put yourself in the worst positions and work your way out of them. Don, feel free to call in if you want. All right. So we have that. Oh, wait. Don says, hide this. Try the Evo challenge. GitHub.com/copyleftdev/ Let me see if I can. Let's see if it's in the whole thing's in the chat. Let me see. The whole thing is in the chat, all right? You can get the link from the chat. The web UI, or click the link in the chat, all right? The web UI challenge. Very, very, it's intense, right? But if you can, Don, here's what we got to do, right? We got to put this challenge in front of people who hire, right? Hiring managers and whoever set up these tests, right? Because if somebody can figure out this challenge, right, and then show it and articulate how they did it, why they did it that way, all that good stuff, right? That'll go a very, very long way. Very long way. Like that would be super impressive. All right. So where are we now? Let's wrap up that question. All right. We are at our very last question for tonight.
Another one.
Doing my PhD was my biggest regret. Hello. For the last few years, doing a PhD was my biggest dream. I worked so hard to get an admission. After 3 years, that dream turned into a nightmare and regretted it so bad this pathway. For the past 3 years, oh, wait, we got a call coming in. Hello, hello, hello.
Call from.
Hello.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Oh, okay. Do that. 1. Hello.
Hello.
What's up, Don? How's it going?
Hey, what's going on?
Nothing much, man. Thanks for calling in. What do you think about the
Hold
last
on,
topic?
there's a delay and it's throwing me off. Sorry.
Are you listening on YouTube while we're talking?
Yeah.
All right. Mute your YouTube and you'll be able to have the phone conversation.
Okay. Cool.
Can you hear me all right?
Let's see here. Yeah, I can hear you all right.
Cool. How's it going?
Oh man, pretty good. Hard day at work. Dealing with some really complex bugs. Trying to, write some code to catch them next time.
Nice. That's what we live for,
Stuff
right?
like that. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about Chaos Camp?
My what?
Can you tell us a little bit about Chaos Camp?
Oh, yeah. Chaos Camp I developed because I found that tutorials are a little too vanilla, and when someone gets into the real world, it's never vanilla. It's always a bit of chaos. So I decided to create a series of challenges that would sort of showcase this and get people prepared to deal with these sorts of issues. It could be a straightforward challenge of dealing with the web UI, or getting a body of work that is entirely unknown and sort of challenge the person to sort of expose them to different ways of research and finding tools and things of that nature. Just like, I call it cognitive cache, and the more you exercise, the more you practice, the more you'll be prepared for unknowns. So that's why I initially created Chaos Camp. And what I hope is people who have experienced chaos can also sort of contribute to this repository and sort of add challenges themselves. Just I want it to grow, and I want a place for QA, DevOps, engineering. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's why I started it. And I really appreciate you, shouting me out and also participating in a lot of them. It's what I found in this experiment is watching you go through these challenges is invaluable to me. Like if I was a hiring manager, I would automatically know how you think, how you deal with problems, and how you sort of solve them. And it's what it told me is I'm in the right direction with this. And hopes one day maybe hiring managers use some of these challenges to sort of identify talent. So,
yeah, I think that'd be great, because like just seeing how a candidate would think. It's similar, like, you know how when they're hiring for like software engineers, they'll have them like whiteboard and stuff like
Hmm.
that. This is like a good way to.
Yeah.
I see a good way to do this for QA, right? How are your critical thinking skills? How are your problem solving skills?
Right. Sometimes they'll hand you a QA, a generic algorithms question, and it's like my day to day has nothing to do with this.
Hmm.
These challenges have everything to do with your job, and especially in QA automation. So yeah.
Yeah, I was so earlier in the show, right? I was talking about someone was asking like what should they put in their GitHub because some of the things that they do in like the course that they're learning to do more automation, it seems too simple. So I said, well, you still want to push those up to GitHub, but you could probably put them private. But what you really want to
Hmm.
work on is like the challenges from Chaos Camp, right? Because those really push you to the limit. So I sent them the two links, right? One for the web UI and one for the MP3 challenge. And they said like, oh, I think this was a little bit over my head. I'm like, no, it's not over your head. It's just because it's new to you that you're a little
Right.
apprehensive about it, right? But if you try it and you take the first step, like I've spoken to you before, and I can see how you think. Take the first step and just try it and
Right.
fail forward.
And another thing they have to take into consideration, their day to day isn't going to be simple. They're going to get tickets every sprint that sort of yield the same profile of complexity and unknowns. So you're always going to be challenged with this, but the more you sort of expose yourself to these weird edge case unknowns that are, you go, oh, I totally know how to research this, or I totally have a process of researching this.
Hmm.
And so, yeah. And as far as what they put on their GitHub, Chaos Camp would be great if that started getting forked over and showcased. But I say everything you've ever done in GitHub. If it's simple, that's fine. You know what? I like simple code. Simple code means I can contribute to it that day. If it's over engineered and abstracted, I may not like that, and I may say, "Oh, this is too much," So, my GitHub is ridiculous. It has over 300 repos
It does, yeah.
since I've been on, and it's some really good code and some really awful code, right? But I've solved some really interesting things, and I've come up with some interesting techniques, experimenting, and then having a place where I can leave those experiments and look back at them later.
And I was like, Don sent me. He was working like sampling out some video streaming testing, right? And he sent it to me. And here's the thing that's great about like this community. And I was able to say, oh, yeah, like this is like very similar to something that I worked on. But take a look at this. Take a look at this library, right? Where it'll simplify part of the work that you're doing here because it's made to parse through this, right? So that way, like we're able to collaborate and share ideas and share things that we've done because, um, like I think I met Don like maybe a month ago, right?
Yeah.
And like we've worked, like we've shared so much information back and forth, like that helps me think of things in a different way, exposes him to different libraries that I've worked on, and so it's that's part like that's part, the amazing thing about this, about Chaos Camp, about like this channel, whatever Don and I are going to be building in the future. It's just so much collaboration that's available.
Yeah, it's a beautiful part of GitHub and open source is sharing ideas. And like that was extremely valuable. I was like, wow, I could like cut this code in half by using that technique, So, that also too, like, I hope Chaos Camp becomes a community where people share those sorts of ideas, and maybe a forum could come out of that, or a Slack channel. Be kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm always strategizing. So I'm still thinking about different ways to make it stand out.
I mean, the Ralph The Ralph load tester came out of all of this.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second. All right, Don, before I let you go, anything else you want to share with everyone?
No, man, keep up the good fight. I love your channel. I watch every day. We collab almost every day, right? Like we're experimenting with stuff all the time and sort of talking about different ways of testing, and mutation testing is something I'm working on, and I'm going to come up with maybe a challenge for that. And that's an intriguing look into testing the tester's code. So
I'm
look
still,
forward to that.
I'm still putting together my challenge. Like my challenges are a little bit more. They're a little bit more comprehensive. You know what I mean? Like I was talking about the challenge I had Stephanie work on. Which is like a full end-to-end, like setting up your own infrastructure, writing your test, having it run through the CI/CD pipeline, which I can write that up and contribute it there. But it'll just be like, here's what you got to go and do, right? And then push your code up, explain what you did, all that good stuff.
Yeah, that's it. Without those skills, without knowing those skills, you could walk into a company and when you don't know source control and CI/CD, you can really get in trouble for doing the wrong thing. So it's good that you're going through those exercises with her.
Yeah, and like the tech barbarians, right? I have them like most of them are new to the whole agile Jira, so I have them going through the agile process, having sprint, setting up like using Jira, having stories, pointing, all that stuff, right? Because my goal is to get them as job ready as possible, and that way, like they're working and they're freelancers now.
Yeah, the next simulation to that would be having a breaking bug in production, and then having some fake PM and CEO yelling in the room. That would be the next phase. Phase 2 of the getting used to that.
All right. Yeah, that's a good point. All right, Don, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna try to wrap up the show in a few. So,
all right.
Thank you for calling,
man.
and
Good
I'll
talking
talk
with
to you later.
All right, bye.
So that was Don who called in. Don is awesome. Like, I've learned a lot from him, and he has helped me. He's helped me, like, even just in the short amount of time that I know him, think better, approach things differently. Like at work the other day, right? We were just having like the team that I work on. We were just hanging around, and I was like, oh, something that I saw him do led me to asking a question to see, if we can enhance our testing, our testing capabilities a little bit further. But it was, but we didn't need to because we already like validate the stuff at an earlier level. But like what I saw him do, it triggered me to ask the question to see, like, hey, can we push it further? So shout out to Don. I am happy that you guys got to hear from Don, because the work that he's doing is totally remarkable, right? So let me address Ray's question real quick. Welcome to the show, Ray. So I think Stephanie's probably getting ready for some more interviews, but she doesn't have 4 jobs. What is happening is she's in the process of, she's probably gonna have 3, right? But she already secured 1, right? And she's in the process of securing another one, right? So QA, web developer, right? And then she's also freelancing QA for our own projects, right? So but she has other ones in the pipeline as well for like product management type stuff. So just giving that context, so she doesn't have 4, but she's having the opportunity for it, right? So just wanted to explain that. What she was just listing is like everything that's in the pipeline, including the ones that she has secured, the one that she's in the process of securing. So that's, and she didn't even mention the freelancing work that she has going on as well. So so just giving some context. Hope that helps. All right. Thank you so much. Ray, happy to hear from you. I'm always glad when I see you here. All right, so let's go back to that last question. Let's see here. All right, so let's go back to the question before Don called in. Where is it? Right, before you, so and Ray, so follow the strategies, right? Follow the strategies that I share, and you can maneuver around it. Let me know. Let me know what you're interested in, and I have different strategies to make that happen. All right. So, all right. So right here we are. Right, let's start again. All right.
Another one.
This was a PhD question. Doing PhD was my biggest regret. For the last few years, doing my PhD was my biggest dream. I worked so hard to get an admission, but after 3 years, that dream turned into a nightmare for me and regretted this pathway. I regretted so badly this pathway. For the past 3 years, I wasn't able to make any progress because of many problems I faced. My supervisor has no idea about the field. The lab head is always putting pressure on us. Many students gave up after the first year, but I thought never giving up will make me reach something. But it didn't. I only wasted so much time doing so. Now I'm 28 years old without any money in my bank account, neither a social life or a love life. I feel like I failed so hard, and even if a miracle happened and I got this PhD, my life won't be any better because postdocs are really few where I live. The salary is so low also. Somehow I feel stuck between leaving now after all this time or just a fresh start somewhere else with any job opportunity I may get. So, the Birdman hand rub, right? So, what do we always talk about here? What was one of our most popular conversations, right? Failing to plan is planning to fail. So many people, they make these like they have these dreams of these PhDs and then like but they don't do any research behind it, right? See, me and the tech barbarians, we're all about the results. And we're all about the results in the most cost effective way possible. While I say that, if you sign up for a boot camp and you want to get your education through there, cool, great, perfect, right? But I would never, ever advise anyone to spend the amount of money that they spend on a boot camp when you can build your own path, right? You can get that information as cheap as possible, right? Put this up right here. I gotta put this up right here. I'm gonna put this right. Let me move this around. Let's get the call-in number. Put the call-in number right here. Right? I'm just gonna leave this stay up, right? This is gonna stay with me here, okay? This is gonna stay right about here. Don is gonna end the show with me. I want an MBA, a major bank account.
Money.
Yep, that's what I want. I want a major bank account. Right? But yeah, like I'm saying, right? People plan to they plan to fail by failing to plan. We go for these things that are so sentimental, right? It makes me feel good, So now you end up paying over $100,000 for this PhD that one, it's not even in demand, right? And if you get a job doing it, you make about the same amount of money as a Starbucks barista. And it didn't cost the Starbucks barista $100,000 to get that job, right? And they're even, and then like they're even working to do something different, right? So, and so now you spend all that time and now you want to quit, right? So the point is, right? We do things the most efficient way possible. We do it the most efficient way possible. I'm going to go back to Don's last comment, right? But we're going to fix that, right? Don says the boot camps take the same info you could find online and hand it to you. Just cut out the middleman. So, and here's my strategy, right? I'm like, let's say you want to become a let's say you want to become a like a full stack developer, web developer, whatever, right? I'm like, all right, let's go find this course on Udemy, catch it on sale, get it for like $20, maybe cheaper, right? Now, damn it, I can't share this information because this is this. All right, I'll share the general information, right? But I won't share the specific how to do it, right? The general information is you take this boot camp, you find a mentor who can coach you through this boot camp that you can ask questions to, that you can get like a strategy from, right? I'm not gonna give any specific details on how to do it, but find a mentor, and now and I'll say like offer to pay them, right? Ask them, hey, I'm learning this. I'm learning full stack development, taking this course, and I just want somebody that I can, like, if I get stuck, that can help me, right? How much would it cost me to do it? Like, for you to help me? How to do it? That's in the Patreon, or that's gonna be in the Patreon. How to do this, right? It's gonna be in the Patreon, but that's a strategy where you just cut off, like, you save thousands and thousands of dollars. I'll share the story real quick, right? I remember there was someone who wanted to become I'm gonna put the MBA back up. Someone who wanted to become a software developer, right? And they said, "Oh yeah, I'm thinking about taking this boot camp." And I was like, "Why? Like, you can do it this way, and it'll be like almost free to do it this way, right?" And that's not like, I'm not even gonna, like, let's not leave out, right? Free code camp is awesome, right? Free code camp is awesome. Like, I went through a lot of their exercises a few years ago, right? It's great. That teaches you a lot. They have full courses on YouTube that you can follow, right? But the person I said, like, why are you gonna do it this way? Like, why are you gonna pay over $1,000 a month to take this boot camp? Oh, because I get assigned a mentor. Well, who does that mentor work for? What qualifies them to be a mentor? See, if I wanted a mentor, the way that I would find it would be in the Patreon, right? But I'd find my own mentor. I'm not gonna pay $1,000 a month for you to give me a mentor, and pretty much what you're doing is you're taking you're taking free code camp, or you're taking a Udemy course, and then you're just putting your logos on it and calling that a boot camp. That wouldn't be my strategy, right? But Don, let me know what you think about this, right? I think that the reason that people are so in love with these boot camps is because they believe the more that they spend on something, the more legit it is. Right? The more that it costs, the more valid it is. But which, if you think about it, right? When somebody goes and they pay $100,000 for a degree, that the degree only produces about 35K a year, they feel special. I'm a PhD, right? I got a PhD. Like, yeah, but you can't find a job or you can't pay your bills. I don't know. I'd rather an MBA over a PhD any day. And not a master's in business administration, a major bank account. Only thing that matters is the results. All that I care about is the results. Because after you get after you get that PhD, right? Then you're gonna want to sign up for a boot camp for $20,000, and then you're gonna have to apply for 4,000 jobs within a year span, and then you're going to say, "What's wrong with the job market? Nobody's hiring. There's no entry level positions." Then you're gonna want to come into our field, and we're gonna say, "Hey," and by that time, Code Camp will be Chaos Camp will be used everywhere. So then you're gonna get a challenge. Say, all right, go ahead and figure out this challenge. We're gonna watch you code, and we're just going to see how you think. And you're gonna get flustered and frustrated, and you're going to get mad, and you're say, "Who interviews like this? They never prepared us for that in the boot camp or the PhD program." But now you're like $200,000 in debt, begging for student loan forgiveness. Wow, our strategy, right? And like when I say find a mentor, you like I doubt you can get Don as a mentor because if you're not serious, he's not messing with you, right? See, there you go. Don says, "True. Fashion uses a strategy, a supreme hammer for $500. Right? You think the more that it costs, the better that it is. But that's how you guys end up falling for those get rich schemes, right? Like we spoke about on the Candid Conversations on Monday, right? You fall for the get rich schemes because you don't properly plan, you don't properly prepare, you don't properly research. It's just, oh, it's $10,000. Sure. But they gave me an internship. Okay. I just gave my tech barbarians freelance positions. They're actually working on real projects, real software development lifecycle. Don wants me to throw in an actual real life bug and mess up our production. Maybe I'll do that in a sandbox environment, Don. But it's real work. Real work. And here's the thing, right? And here's the thing. With these internships that they give you, right? It's existing software, existing sites where you're going in there and you're testing stuff that exists. That's not being part of a software development team. We build applications from the very beginning. We just finished sprint 0. So Failing to plan equals planning to fail. Your dream, see, and that's why dreams or nightmares, whatever you want to call it, right? Your dream turned into a nightmare. To me, like I know a lot of people believe in dreams. Oh, I dreamed about this. I dreamed about that. To me, dreams are based on what you ate for dinner, right? Did you eat too late? Did you eat something that didn't sit well? That's where your dreams come from. Unless you're dreaming about how to do the actual work. See, because me, when I dream, right, I dream about like, oh, I figured out this coding thing. Let me get up. I wake up. It's like, oh crap, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, I'm up. Let's get to work. Pull out the laptop. Try to implement the code. Okay, cool. I can go back to sleep now. Right? if you only saw what happened for Sprint Zero, it was the most hilarious. I gotta go check the burn down chart. I'll send it to you. But that's hilarious, right? That was hilarious. But yeah. I don't believe in dreams. The only dreams I believe in is the ones that solve a problem for me. And I've had plenty of those. Like I remember in like high school taking college algebra, after I got a 48 on my first test, I went and I did every single math problem. I got like it was a 98, it was a 100, it was a 94, and the final was like a 96. Right? I remember them in my head because I did every single problem. I did the odds and the evens, right? And I would fall asleep with the book in my hand, and I would the way that I remembered it was because I dreamed about how to solve the problem. Then I get into the test, right, and I close my eyes and I replay back the dream of how to solve the problem. Right? But that was a strategy. But dreaming about, oh, I saw this person in a dream. Yeah, I just spoke to them. It makes sense. I ate some fried chicken wings too late, and I was talking to the person. All right, and now I dream about, oh, I saw them in the dream, and this would happen. Yeah, I just spoke to them, and I ate this thing that messed with my dream, and whatever. I didn't read a book before, or maybe you did read a book, or maybe you watched a movie, and then you saw somebody, and then whatever happened in the movie, that's what applied. Dreams don't mean anything. So he's like, oh, it was my lifelong dream to get a PhD. And it's like, well, what does that PhD pay? Right? How much does a PhD cost? $200K? What does it pay? $45K? Well, that's a terrible dream. Oh, you don't talk bad about my dream. All right, well, cool. Don't talk bad about my dream. All right, cool. You got it. Well, the Tech Barbarians will be over here winning, right? We'll be over here winning.
I mean, all we do is win, man. You know that.
All right, that's what we're gonna be doing, and you can be living up your dream or your nightmare, your choice. Anyways, that was that. So Don says he hates algebra, but he can write a program that does it for him. That's why we do what we do. And Don says, oh, I think the your came from more, but your dream or your parents' dream. That is a good point. But then again, right? It depends on the parents that you have, because some parents, like, they have no dreams for you. The only dream that they have is like, oh, once you get 18, get out of my house. Other parents, it depends on the parents, right? One example that I can think of is Tim Grover, right? Michael Jordan's, Kobe Bryant's, Dwayne Wade's trainer, along with many other players, right? But those are the notable names, right? His parents wanted him to become like a doctor or something. He became, I would say the best trainer that an athlete could have, right? His book, Winning, his book, Relentless, amazing books. Amazing books, right? Like that, like reading those books, I kind of already had that mindset, but just reading it, is like a lot of times, like what you have in your mind, when you see it on paper, like in words that coming from somebody else, it just like helps you formulate it a lot better, right? But but it depends on what the dream is, right? Because it's like this, right? If my parents' dream was that I would become a like software engineer, software developer, whatever the case may be, right? And I'm like, oh, I don't like that dream. Um, I want to become like hmm, a ballerina or something. I don't know, social worker, ballerina, whatever the case may be, right? And or I want to be, I want to move to Hollywood and become an actor or an actress or whatever, right? My parents' dream are probably better off for me in that case. Just depends on the dream, right? Or you can have a parent's dream who's like, oh, I want my son to play in the NBA or whatever, right? And my dream is like, well, I want to become a software developer or entrepreneur or whatever the case may be. The chances of me achieving my dreams versus the chances of me achieving my parents' dreams, I say you have a better chance of being more successful with my dream than my parents' dream of making it to the NBA. Right? It just depends on the dream. Like at the end of the day, it's all about the research, right? It's your life. You have to research it. See what's going to be the best for you. Your feelings, how you feel about stuff, they don't mean nothing because this person, right, that we were talking about, they felt a certain way about getting a PhD, but then once they're in the mud, working through it, they're miserable. They hate it. And then they finally realize that there is no job associated with it in where they live. There's probably no job associated with it anywhere, right? And it is super expensive. They're in debt. They don't know what to do. They're going to transition into tech, and then they're going to want us to help them, right? Go for the MBA. Go for the major bank account. Then later on, after you have that major bank account, you're not broke. You're not begging us to pay your bills for you, right? Then follow your dreams, right? But until then, until you can afford to follow your dreams, until you can afford to follow your dreams, until you can afford to follow your dreams,
Message.
be productive. Do what's not going to make you a burden to the rest of society, right? But on that note, thank you for watching the show, for being here. I really, really appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
If you haven't done so yet, subscribe to the channel, the notification bell so you can know every single time that we go live, every single time we drop a new video, because everything that we do here, it's to help you, to help you learn, help you level up, all that good stuff, right? You heard from Stephanie tonight, you heard from Don, right? How to make yourself more marketable, how to challenge yourself, how to put yourself in the worst situations possible, and then work your way out of it. That's what we do here. Prepare you for the workforce, prepare you for life, right? And we don't charge you an egregious amount of money to do it. Don't charge you anything here. Helping you gain experience. So, like I said, if you want more, subscribe to the channel and you'll get more. All right? And, like the video, share the video, all that good stuff. And if you haven't done so yet, check out the Patreon. Like I said, the next video I'm going to be putting in there is how to network, how to get a mentor, how to learn whatever it is that you want to learn in the most inexpensive way possible. Right? Create your own bootcamp. Here's a plan, right? I'm going to leave you with this. Create your own bootcamp. Stop begging people to hold your hand, or stop paying an egregious amount of money for people to hold your hand, right? Create your own boot camp. Do it yourself. Stop being scared. Stop being lazy. Do it yourself. All right? And then you will experience the ultimate victory. All right? So, be back live again Thursday night. Not sure after that what's going to happen next week, all right? Figure it out. But we'll be back Thursday night working on airflow. Okay? It's been a great night. Thank you so much for being here. Don, appreciate you calling in. Stephanie, appreciate you calling in. Ray, appreciate you being in the chat. Miss Randy, always happy to have you here. Beatrice, thank you so much for being here. And on that note, friends, families, ISTQB folks, non-ISTQB folks, you have a wonderful, wonderful night. And until next time, this is Tech Coach Ralph signing off.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again. Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
Hear me, warriors of the North. Today we have tasted the sweet nectar of victory. Our foes indeed defeated, and their lands are now bow before us. The gods themselves have favored our glorious deeds on this glorious day. We have shed blood, sweat, and tears to claim this land. Our relentless spirit, our unyielding determination. These are the very essence of our people. It's been of our ancestors rejoice in the halls of Valhalla. For today, we have added to their eternal glory. Our victories will echo throughout the ages, and our names will be etched in the annals of history. But let us not forget the present pain the brothers and sisters we lost. They now feast in the hall of our forefathers, watching over us with pride. Their sacrifice has paved the way for this moment of triumph. As we celebrate this conquest, let us also remember that our journey is far from over. More land awaits our conquest, more battles upon us forth, and the fire in our hearts burn ever brighter, for there is no limit to what we can achieve. To those who dare stand against us, let them tremble in fear, for they shall witness the fury of the northern storm, the wrath of the untamed barbarians. Today we celebrate our victory. Tomorrow we set our sights on new horizons, uncharted land where our banners will fly high. When we're Vikings, we're barbarians, we're the masters of conquest.